Hi. Well, you look familiar.
Do I?
Do I know you?
I don't recognise me.
It says who?
Oh, okay.
Who's who?
Who's what? When?
Yeah, that thumbnail is fucking hilarious.
It's good.
This guy got to go take a whiz real quick, so he'll be right. He'll be right back.
Is our compatriot coming in then?
Scotty?
Mm.
Yeah, he's gonna come in too.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good.
He is. So did you get all your audio stuff taken care of?
Well, it appears that I've sorted the audio but lost the MIDI.
So did you have MIDI before and all of a sudden it
That I had and no audio. Now I've got audio, no MIDI.
What the heck? You got gremlins in there.
I don't know what it is. There's something awry somewhere.
Are you sure it wasn't Lily?
No, I hope it wasn't Lily. I know what you mean though. She has been known to stick her face out now and again. But I can't see anything in particular that would.
Lamar has a great question. Moser505 says, can bass players do scoring?
Of course they can.
There you go, Moser.
I mean, Hans, who's the bass player? Who's Hans' bass player now? He was in a band. Big band. Big band. Oh, God, I can't remember names.
The bass player that he uses?
Yeah.
Is it an old band, a newer
Well, he
band?
helped write Inception with Hans.
The bass player did? Okay.
Oh, what's his pigging name?
See, that's that'd be easy to find out.
He does, well, actually, he plays guitar as well, to be fair, but he does play bass. Was he in U2 or something like that? You know, some famous guy. It's just whose name eludes me.
Let's see. I'm looking it up right now. It gives me, it only gives me Hans.
Yeah. Yes, out in the official world, it will always be Hans.
Oh, Prometheus said Guthrie?
Doesn't sound like it. Johnny Marr.
Johnny Marr?
Johnny Marr.
So he wrote the bass.
No, he helped with the rest of it as well.
Oh, okay.
But just, because if you can pick out a chord or a sound or can convey what it is you think Smiths. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah, thank you,
and you
Craig.
can convey what you want and have somebody else play it, you're still the guy composing it.
Right.
Yeah? I mean, even if you're drawing like dots on notes in a door, if you're not too clever on the keyboard, and there's tools.
Right, to help you.
Yeah, he's not known as a bass player, but he does play bass quite well apparently.
Huh.
So anybody can score essentially. There are, especially today, there are tools that allow whatever your instrument, like drums.
Right. Yeah.
But if you got an idea of what it is you want to hear, there are tools now that allow you to convey that. You either get somebody in to play it for you, or use the tools to the best of your abilities to recreate what you want.
So so now with this whole AI world that we're in, have you seen that people who've scored for movies have less and less of a job or work available to them because studios are now going towards AI?
I think when it comes to scoring, it is a different kettle of fish to the conventional music business. So a great way of getting started in the business is actually you don't go anywhere near a studio, you go to advertising agencies.
Gotcha.
that kind of thing, and peddle your wares. So you get a few ideas together and everything that you can take along and they can listen to. And then it'd just be about negotiating price, because they're obviously going to be looking for somebody who's not going to cost them a lot of money. But once you get known, you can then charge more, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Hence why, an unknown does a film. It's their first film, and they'll get, a reasonable amount of money, probably about $150,000 to do the score. Whereas somebody like Fruitbat over here,
gets fucking
big
big
money, or he has a clause in his contract that he can have, royalties from profit.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're doing a big film, then you're laughing. So there's lots of nooks and crannies, but there seems to be more work available for people who score than people who are trying to get into the inverted commas pop industry, where there's literally isn't really a lot of opportunities available to people, no matter how good they are. Right. Weirdly.
Yeah, the whole industry as a whole has just changed from what it was 3 years ago. It really has.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's in every department, in every job class. For mine in particular, man, it's taking a huge hit.
Yeah.
Huge hit.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why the strikes really hit us hard, and production companies are like, fine, okay, we agreed to this, but we're going to take all of our productions now overseas. And literally everything, almost everything is being shot overseas. And if it's here in the States, then they're doing an independent, super low budget contract, which pays shit.
Which means they're going to have to walk some things back to bring it back to the U.S. If not, they'll just stay gone.
Well, I think what's going to happen
Which is smart. If you don't want to pay people their money and they don't want to sign over their likeliness to AI, and okay, I'll agree to all your terms, but we'll just do this. Fuck you all. We're leaving the States.
So I think what's going to happen is, a lot of these big, huge studios, they fall under a blanket contract, right? They're grandfathered in. They have to follow it no matter what. I think what's going to happen is, I think these big production companies and these smaller companies are going to break away, and they're going to go directly to the unions and be like, okay, we want to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Can we agree on a contract? And then you're going to have this thing where people who are in the industry will know what I'm talking about. They will have a side letter. So it's like, okay, here's your basic agreement. Here's your overall blanket contract, right? But this studio, this production company or whoever, signed a side letter to that. Meaning, we agreed to all of this over here except for whatever is stipulated in this side letter. And I think that's what's going to happen a lot, because I don't think the studios can afford these contracts anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too expensive.
I know that one of the easiest routes in was to, like I say, approach advertising companies and get your music used on an advert,
right?
Regardless of what the advert is.
Yeah.
Although writing music for adverts is a different discipline to scoring for film.
Right.
Although it's the same thing. You're just parking the car differently. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing, but not. But the good thing that comes out of that is your track gets heard 40 times a day, every day, on the TV or on the radio, depending. And if it's catchy, and it's doing its job,
Mm-hmm.
then your phone starts ringing.
Right.
And when the phone starts ringing, then you've got more of a position of command on the sort of money you'd like to get. You know, you can't push it, but
Right.
Right.
you've got
Yeah.
a little bit more power on your side now because they're coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ass kissing and all the rest of it, like there isn't any bloody business like this. But
Yeah.
and you build yourself up from that.
My big question, since we're getting this started, we need to hard stop at 7:30 ish, because we have a long day.
What's that in
with
old money?
where you're
An
for-
hour from now.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a bunch of horses we have to do tomorrow. Okay, so for day one in this class, you teaching the fucking monkey.
Mm.
I think it's only obvious we start if we're going to use this as a diary and a means to head forward.
Yeah.
I could teach you how to be a farrier, and I could point you to some of the things you need to do before you even think about being a farrier. Like, for instance, we need to go in my gym and work out first.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to put some books in
Your hands, and
in
you
your
need to read
hand,
this. Right.
and while you're working out, I'm going to be saying some things. So I would
Yeah.
kind of like to go that route, Kent, for the first few sessions of this. So the wife
I
and
think
I
you would
can
have
look,
to be that route.
right.
It would have to be that
Yeah.
route. It's not a case of like, okay, now play something. It's not like that.
Right.
What you got to do, and this is different for everybody. You know, it's a very individual thing, or individualistic thing. Is take a piece of film, doesn't matter what it is, pick something, but then watch it. Not how do I put this? Don't watch it with your eyes. Watch it with your ears. What you do is imagine the music for this, right? So if it's got music, sound, talking on it, turn it down, right? Just watch the image, right? And see what it is that it will is musically inspiring you. What you feel will work for this piece. Say it's 2 minutes long. You know, like when you did the Apollo night, right? That, right? You decide within the parameters of what you're watching, what you want the story to be, right? So, like when I did the Apollo one, I started off with the sort of like unnervy, almost dystopian kind of scary sounds, right? Because it is frightening and difficult and hard for people to go to the moon. And they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what the hell they're going to find when they get there, right? But once they're there and they're on the ground and they've got a feel for where they are and what they're doing, they can take in the magic and the awe of their standing somewhere that isn't the Earth for the first time ever, kind of thing. Hence, the music then changed.
Do you have a video? Do you have the video he did with the Apollo score?
Think so. I'll check.
Okay.
So what I did was I watched that bit of film and thought about what I'm seeing, but also the whole picture as well, if you understand what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you can do, obviously, if there is, if it's a piece of film that has dialogue in it, taking the dialogue is going to be your focal point rather than the visuals. Taking the dialogue. Then you take in the visuals and see how the two can work together. So they're not fighting each other and they work together. So you're taking in the whole thing, the visual and the dialogue as well. And that's kind of how you have to start, and you have to practice doing that. And then you'll get a feel for it, and it will get to the point where you can see a bit of film and go, yeah, know exactly what I'm going to do with this, and go off and do it.
Yeah.
As straightforward as that. I mean, that Apollo one, I watched it, and then the second time I run it and played it.
So do you do some mental exercises before you even write anything? Is there something you do to work out before you attack the film?
No. Just don't have any other distractions. Just sit and watch it.
Okay.
And see what it says to you. And then you take that narrative of what it said to you and play what it made you feel watching it.
Okay. Does everything have to be a symphony?
No, absolutely not. That's my go. I like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Doing
That's
the
a good
symphony stuff is
question.
hard work. It's hard. There's so many parts to it. It's a pain in the arse.
Very hard work.
Yeah. You could do it just a piano. You could do it with just one single sounding instrument. It can be a synth. It can be anything. It can be anything. Whatever suits what you're seeing and what it says to you. It does not have to be a symphony. It doesn't have to be orchestral at all. Some of the great scores aren't orchestral. Blade Runner.
Thomas Newman. Look at Thomas Newman.
Exactly,
well.
yeah. So, no, it doesn't have to be conventional instruments at all.
What makes a person say, "I don't need any music at all" to this? How have you ever come
Wasn't
across?
there a film that didn't have
Yeah.
any?
Have you ever come across a film where you thought to yourself, now I know it's not up to the scorer's decision at the end of the day. It's up to the director.
Yeah.
But have you ever come across something where you said to yourself, this shouldn't have any score to it. This should just be.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get moments in films sometimes where music would be a distraction. And the music is supposed to complement. It's supposed to set the feeling, set the mood. If it's not required, don't put any in.
What film was it that didn't have a score?
No Country for Old Men, I think it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have the Moon video?
I have to track it down. I can't find
It was on a popcorn
I
night.
know, but I
okay.
deleted
Well,
them to save
I mean,
space.
We'll
Well,
get better prepared next time. But
Yeah, look at the way Morricone approached the scoring of the spaghetti westerns that he did. It was very quirky music with unusual instruments, but it worked so well, so brilliantly. But it wasn't running right the way through the film. There are places where you just don't have the music because it's not required.
Right.
Especially if the director's not wanting the audience to be distracted from something that's happening at a specific moment. You go, well, we don't want any music happening because it's just embellishment. It doesn't need. We don't want them. We don't want to be being distracted by precisely what is going on.
okay, let's walk back a little bit, Kent. If we're in this proverbial class setting, and you're teaching us, or those of us who are here wanting to learn foundation, how are you to get the point across as to what an individual is seeing without giving them the inspiration of what they should be hearing?
How do you mean?
So if we're in a class setting and you're showing us a piece of video that has not been scored to,
Right.
and you're helping us try to come along with this fantastical idea,
Yeah.
how are you? What are some things you could tell the class about how you should be thinking about this without telling them how they should be hearing it, and developing their own ear without being guided.
Oh,
as to,
yeah, I see what you mean.
Mhm.
No, you don't. You don't. This is something that you learn yourself. This is what I was trying to say to you. Remember the first time we were talking about this?
Mhm.
This is what I was trying to get to you, is that if I was to say, like, I'd show you, pick you a piece of 2-minute video,
Mhm.
and I go, right, watch this, and how would you score this? And you say, well, you watch it and you go, well, I'd like to try this, I'd like to try that, do this, do that. And I go, well, no, that probably won't work. You should probably do this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
That's me scoring it, not you.
Right.
Right? You've got to score it. And it will be hit and miss for a while.
Mhm.
It will be hit and miss. And even after, I've been doing it a long time, admittedly, as a hobby, not professionally at all. I make misses as well, even now.
Mhm.
And there's no way of really knowing it, because penultimately what happens is that you're scoring that piece of music, and then the listener decides if it's any good or not. Do you know what I mean?
So you could have a student do such a great job in class, and you tackle the same challenge as him, and ultimately it comes down to, if a person doesn't know that's a student, but knows you to be the professor and chooses the student sound over yours, does that hold weight? Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Because the thing about scoring is what you're doing is you're taking your experiences and using it to interpret what you're seeing. You follow what I mean?
Kind
So,
of.
well, look, if you were watching, set up a scenario here. Say you got somebody who has had a hard life. Say they had an abusive, violent father, and all the rest of it. Life's been tough. They go into scoring, and they watch a bit of film about somebody running across a meadow during a sunset kind of thing. And then you have somebody who's had a really sort of like average kind of life, and they've never experienced any bad or anything like that of any significance. At least nothing as bad as the other student. What they bring with them determines what they're going to score, because their interpretations are based wholly on who they are, as well as what they're seeing.
So the experience of their life.
Exactly. Now, the
Gotcha.
person who's had a hard life may see this as being almost utopian kind of scenario, with this person running freely across a meadow. And they will write something as happy as possible, as bright and as free, whatever their sound they interpret as being those things. And the person who's had a pretty easy life wouldn't see it to the same level.
Right.
Right?
I get that.
So, and this is without knowing what happens before and what happens after the scene. If it's a whole film, you've got a better idea, right? And then somebody else comes along, and they lived in the country and they've always wanted to live in the city. We'll see this as pretty. Well, I used to do this every day, and won't see it as utopian as the guy's had a hard life, and not as utopian as the guy's had an easier life, but hasn't lived in the country.
So I draw a conflict with that then, Kent. If a director and a writer and a producer are telling you need to look at this film this way, and this is what we see, how are you to bring your life experience in when they're having you look at it in a different way at the same time?
Well,
are they dictating the sound too?
Well, they can do. I mean, especially if you're starting out, they will. Right? Because you're untested You're untested territory.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, you'll get a director who knows precisely what they want, whether it works or not. But even then, even if you're working within parameters that they give you, so it's still technically you writing it. And like Ty has told me, 9 times out of 10, the directors think they know what they want and haven't actually got a fucking clue.
Right.
And then you just do what you're going to do and ignore what they've said and let them hear it. And they go, oh no, this is much better. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So at the end of the day, you have to be faithful to yourself with it.
So do you need accolades to help you through the industry? Do you need to have a so-called school, or is it just a thing of the actual individual that's going to make you stand out?
Unfortunately, it is a point system.
Mm-hmm. You got to somewhere.
Yeah. But you start somewhere and you get a point, no matter how small that point is, but it's a point to you.
Mm-hmm.
And everything you do is another point, another point, another point. And then you build up relationships with people. And 9 times out of 10, having a beer with somebody is going to get you a job more than anything you've done previously.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
As well.
Yeah, especially in this sort of industry.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's no different from quite a lot of other industries for that matter.
Yeah.
It's the getting started, but you also need to know what your craft is so you can excel at it as best you can, you know, and get a feeling for what people want even before you've seen the clip. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's all part of it, but it's all part of general life as well. You know, with no matter what it is you do, I for instance, I know when a customer comes to the door whether they're going to be a pain in the arse or not, simply from what they say to me.
Right.
You know, like you'll know whether a horse is going to be a big job or not a big job.
Yeah.
Right.
You drive into the yard, you see the horse and go, here we go.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the
That's
same with
very
that
true.
as well. It's
Yeah.
the same with that as well. There's nothing.
Um,
There's no mysterious magic behind scoring at all. But there is a approach that you do, because when you write a track blind, right? You just write a track. Anything goes. It's fine, and you go with that flow. With this, you have parameters you have to work within.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the trick is being able to stay within those parameters, but still interpret what you see your way.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Kent, and it's one of my pet peeves, and I think a lot of people misunderstand the two words and the meanings and what they actually are. Can you tell us the difference between a score for a film and what a soundtrack for a film is?
Yeah. There isn't one. A soundtrack for a film is the score of the film. Literally.
So I thought, from definition standpoint, I thought as the soundtrack of a film can have songs that are pre-existing, right? So a score is something specifically made, an instrumental music specifically made for that movie.
Originally, what the soundtrack was actually the entire audio track of the film, including dialogue.
Right.
And sound effects and everything. And it was simply, that was it. That's the soundtrack.
Right. But so like if you go to a store and say, I want to, like, you know how movies are like the soundtrack now available to such and such movie. So it's everything. It's existing songs that maybe fits this movie or a song that they wrote for this movie, including the score, which is just the instrumental music portion of it. So the soundtrack is all encompassing of that.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. And there is this thing about dumping pre-existing songs into a scene because the song works in some way.
Right, it fits. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yes, it's not treated as part of the score. And that's where you get that differentiation between score and soundtrack, because then, like you say, if it contains pre-existing tracks by other bands and from other decades even, it's a soundtrack from that point of view. And that's what tends to happen when a soundtrack is released on CD or whatever. It's the songs. You don't get the score with it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, whatever the film may be. And that's fine. And I think sometimes it's probably pre-planned that those songs would be used, even to the point that they changed the story slightly so the tracks fit better.
So it can fit the song. Yeah. It's funny because you'll hear people be like, oh, I bought this soundtrack for this and that score was amazing. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's like not even what you're listening to.
Yeah, that was a song already created by an artist that just worked for that scene.
Or they wrote a song for the movie, but it wasn't a score. It wasn't the music you heard behind the scene that you're viewing right now.
Scott, do you have questions? I have plenty of questions for this first tutorial.
Yeah, if you listen to like the Kill Bill and things like that, there's very little actual scores go on in them. It's all just sort of like vintage tracks from all walks of life that's through that whole film. And that's what I would class as like if you were going in to buy it's not a score. I wouldn't class that as a score. It's just, it is just the soundtrack from the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Whereas
think that's
the
where
score is so much more involved.
Yes, it's specific. It's the emotions, what they're trying to tell you in that scene.
Yeah.
What you as the composer are trying to
relay,
enhance in the actors, in the moment, in the environment. Like that's a score.
But like I say, if you're using, let's say it's a Human League track, and it's running in the film, you'll notice that whatever the song is supposed to be supporting that's going on in the film, the scene comes to a conclusion and ends at the same time the track does. Coincidence? No. You go, we're going to use this track and we'll have to elongate this scene a little bit and do this, that and the other so that the two go together.
Yeah, match it up. Yeah,
so that it matches up. So it's been preconceived. So although the song is in the film, the film has become more the score than the song is now. You know, and there's all these sort of techniques are always going on. But yes, the score is the stuff you write cold.
Yes,
and
specifically for that.
And soundtrack is. When they released the album with the film, and it's
with
actually
songs,
just the songs that were on it. Yeah.
But it's a tough one to draw a line through as well, because like if you look at Platoon and the famous scene at Platoon when the guys are getting left behind when the chopper's going away, and it's Adagio for strings, it's Barber's Adagio for strings that they use on that scene. So that's just the same as using a rock track or a dance track or a Human League track, because it's pre-composed music. And that was probably the most impactful part I thought was a score at the time. I never even knew it was a thing until afterwards.
Lovely old classical bit.
Oh,
but I tell you what, nobody was happier than the existing family of Barber. I'll tell you that. They like those extra royalties running in. But we go, oh, that's nice, thank you. We'll get a new car. But
you wouldn't be thinking twice about the Mustang, would you?
Well, this is it. You see, the thing is, clearly the director has gone, there's this bit of music, and I think it'd be perfect for this. Now, there's going to be a certain degree of how the scene plays out to help it work with the track as well at some point. It's not like I'm going to use Barber's Adagio for strings. Now we film it. The premise will be there already, and they just make it the two gel together. Probably with clever editing as well. There's a lot of that goes on.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's still part of the process that sound with vision. So in a way, it's kind of scoring in a way, but not from a not directly from a musician in the room. It's just a piece of music that happened to already pre-exist.
Okay, so my brother has a question.
So we're
Hello, puppy.
I'm clarifying the questions.
Okay.
Because when he first originally asked it, I assumed something else, and so did Uncle Chrome, and then he clarified at the end. So originally his question was, the totality of most scores are in the closing credits, right? And so I thought he meant if you score something for X, Y, and Z, you're going to be in the credits. And the answer is no. And that's only because they only have a certain amount of room to name everybody off. So if you're Joe Blow Schmo at the very bottom, you're going to be kicked off so that Cher can be on there.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise can be on there, So it's like Kent was saying, it's point system. So if you have the points, you get on there. If you don't, sorry, try harder or keep working. And eventually you'll get your name on the credits. Which for me personally, in the industry I was in, I was fucking thrilled. I was tickled pink when my name showed up on the credits.
Right.
Because I got enough points. So if you guys go to IMDb and Google my name, you'll see credits on there because I've collected enough points to be on the credit line.
Yeah.
But he clarified his question. And his question was for scores that are in the movie, for like, let's say a scene that's only a minute 30 long, right? Will the totality of that score be played at the end? Meaning, if that score actually was like 5 minutes long, are we going to actually hear that at the end of the movie? And I think the answer is it depends.
It depends on the director, on the guys paying the money.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes.
And the points.
Because why is
the
it?
point system.
Why
Right.
is it
I'll
that?
tell you what,
that-
here's an example, right?
okay.
There's a film, right? I'm thinking of a film, and the oddest part in the film is when there isn't any music in it all of a sudden, because the rest of the film is absolutely loaded with music, right? Any ideas? Star Wars.
Oh,
There's very
okay.
little time.
Yeah.
There isn't
Yeah.
any music playing in Star Wars, except at that bit where
The
specifically-
transitions.
Yeah. Well, even the transitions will have music, right?
Right.
But where it goes quiet is when things like when Obi-Wan is telling Skywalker about, how Darth Vader killed your father and all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Because music is not required. But even then, it creeps in.
It very little, yeah.
And John Williams likes to do this thing where he has themes for characters. So, like, when Darth Vader appears, you get the Darth Vader film. Yeah.
Yep.
If a Star Destroyer suddenly comes out of hyperspace, there's a theme for the Star Destroyer, that kind of thing. Which is an old trick, an old trick. And that's what gives this, well, at least then, this modern film a nice, cozy 40s feel. And literally the music is doing that. Because there sure as hell isn't anything going on the screen that reminds people of the 40s. Apart from maybe the story. Because the story is actually almost a rip-off of a film from 1947, I think it was. And even the theme Star Wars is kind of a rip-off from a theme from another film. that was done in the 40s. It's all, you know, as it starts, you almost start singing along with it, and then it suddenly changes slightly. You think it was a Star Wars thing. So that set a trend again. That trend of music being in films suddenly sprung to life again, and people wanted to do huge scores.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Fruitbat over there was ready to take advantage of that, and did.
Mhm.
So John Williams set the new, you know, how we perceive film scoring now. He's basically the grandfather of it.
Okay,
love-
but hold on. Before you say that, since we're on this topic, I've noticed at the end of films when credits are rolling, when it's not pre-made songs by an artist, I like to sit there and hear the entire orchestra or whatever.
Yeah, and that's what Lamar's question was like.
Yeah.
Do they play the whole thing? And again, it goes back to the point system.
Because I think that's the big part that's missing is like if anyone was patient enough to just sit and listen to that.
It's funny. You get a different experience with something depending on where you're coming from, right? So with LaMonte at the end of the credits, he enjoys it because he's hearing the music, right? And for me, at the end of the credits, I hear no music. You couldn't tell me that there was a certain music or a song being played because that's not what I'm paying attention to. I'm paying attention to who was the camera crew, who was the gaffers, who was the stunt people, who was the production coordinator, who was the and that's because of my experience, what I lived, right? And so I think that's just fascinating. And I think it goes back to what the question you had for Kent was, how does a teacher teach a new student on how to score? And the answer was you don't, because it's your experience.
Yeah. Well, when I say don't, there are, you know, you can have pointers, but ultimately, should we call them the student, must, what they create is not wrong, whatever it is, right? But there could be suggestions. Say, well, you could try this, you could try that. Would it make more sense, or would you get the message across if you did this or did that? But there's no wrong way of doing it, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay. But there's no wrong way to who, Kent?
Well,
because you could lose a job, right? So, I mean,
people
how do you learn?
Listen,
Okay, go ahead.
People are losing jobs on scores and stuff like that all the time. And there's nothing wrong with the score. But if the director doesn't like it, and you have another crack, and he still doesn't like it, he'll look for somebody else, and it'll be bye-bye, Mr. Composer, right?
But what
you've
have
done
you
nothing
learned
wrong
from that? But what have you learned, Kent?
That job wasn't for you.
That job isn't working. I mean, this happens to Ty all the time,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And, you know,
It wasn't their cup of tea.
Yeah, because what you're doing, it's like if you were an artist and you're painting a scenery, painting a scene, right? Some people will like it and some people won't. Right?
Yep.
But there's that doesn't mean that you drew the painting wrong. You know, didn't paint the painting wrong. It's just that it will appeal to some people and won't appeal to others. Like music does.
Yeah. And that's why artist, anything artistic is so beautiful, because everybody is going to love you and everybody's going to hate you.
Right.
Yeah, in equal measure. I mean, Fiona loves to watch the Eurovision Song Contest, and I would rather repeatedly thump myself in the face with a hammer than watch the Eurovision Song Contest, because I find it the most...
I'm with you on that one, Ken.
It's
I'd
the
rather
most-
shit a bag of broken glass than watch that.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
It's so banal and crass,
Yeah.
because what they're doing is they're taking the popular denominator and compressing it and trying to make everything as appealing as possible to people as wide as they can. And by doing that, it cheapens, thins, and weakens what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to watch like 12 countries present 12 different tracks. You know, sometimes it's 11 or whatever. And they're all horrible tracks. It's
just cheesy shit.
Yeah, it's just cheesy shit. Yeah. Now, sometimes
the
you'll get...
cheesiest one always wins.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
But sometimes you get a little gem come along, admittedly, but that doesn't appeal to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, it appeals to less people than the most banal bollocks going. Like, what was interesting about ABBA, when ABBA did the Eurovision Song Contest, because they were actually very good songwriters.
Yes.
Both lyrically and musically. And it showed, and they built a career out of that. If you look at, what's the name of that bloody group? There was 4 of them, 2 women, 2 blokes, British.
It wasn't the Nolans, was it?
No, 2 blokes, 2 girls. Cheryl Baker was one of the singers. What were they called?
Oh, fuck.
The Osmond family?
No.
No.
Oh, shit, Bucks Fizz.
Bucks Fizz, that's
Bucks
it. Well done,
Fizz, right?
Kent. Fuck,
Right.
I've done my head in.
They won the Eurovision Song Contest, and even today there is people discussing that the reason they won the Eurovision Song Contest was not because of the song, because the song was basically just an updated rock and roll song from fucking 50s. Is that they did this bit halfway through where the guys pulled the girls' skirts off.
Yeah, that's right.
So they got like an awful lot of leg showing, and they reckon that's why they won.
Wow.
So explain to me what the musical value of that
Right.
was.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So, but of course they won because they go, yeah, and it was on the radio constantly. I think, did it go to #1 as well?
I think it did.
And then
If it
they did
didn't
a few
get to
other
number
tracks
1, it
under
was
that.
very
but-
close.
Yeah, exactly, Craig. Sex sells. You don't have this advantage.
Yep.
You can't, score a TV program with your dick out and hope that will work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, shit,
So-
if you did that, you'd get all the jobs, babe.
And even if you do, and
That's
you
why
start,
I've never had any.
well, look, a case in point. Take David Arnold. When we had David Arnold on the show, I asked him if he would come on because I was repairing some synthesizers for him, and he went, "Yeah, cool, I'd be up for that." And I went, "Fucking hell, okay," because I know what he's done. So I'm impressed that he's gone. Yeah, I'll come on your let's face it, little show with about 40 people watching it, as it was at the time, and nobody in the chat watching the show knew who the fuck it was. Who's this?
Yeah.
And so he scored Independence Day. He wrote Stargate. Did Stargate, the film, and obviously the series. Sherlock Holmes. What was the other one he did recently? Anyway, loads of big stuff, right?
Blockbuster movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody
was
barely
like,
knows who he is.
Who's that? Right.
He's huge. He's known and hugely respected in circles, but they're the important circles. They're the circles that are full of directors and people with pennies and people looking for people to score things. And so he's been clever, but he's also been quite prolific. He was basically taking any job that was thrown at him and run with it. But he's also very good at looking at a piece of video and going, "Yeah, I think I know what I'll do with this." And that's from practice more than anything else.
Yeah. So we
can put you on the road and help you out and help you develop how you interpret what you're seeing and using your experience to do that. Yeah? And then building up your own confidence to know that I can do this.
So we have 10 minutes left. What would you suggest that he does
for anybody. Like,
Yeah, or anybody.
what's the homework assignment?
Yeah.
Before the next class session.
Right.
Okay, I tell you what. Marilyn,
Yes.
you pick the bit of video
Okay.
and don't let him know. Don't show it to him. And then the next time we do this, you're presented with it, and then you look at it and you decide what it is that you think would work best.
Okay.
And then implement it. And I'll be with you. And we'll implement it, and I'll compare what I do to it and what you do to it, like you did with the Apollo night.
Right.
But we do it together at the same time, and you might be able to see something I'm doing in my process that you think will help you. Yeah.
Should I send it to you prior, Kent, so you can have
No.
it before
I
he
mustn't
does?
see it either.
Okay. Okay.
So you're going to surprise both of us at the same time.
Okay. And how
Yeah,
long?
is Scott going to be in on this as well?
Scott, you want to be in on this?
Yeah, I was thinking if you're going to do it like that, it would be worth just setting up a different little group in the Discord, so that we keep this training session between you two. Because I don't want to step on that, but I'm interested. I'm interested to sort of play along here as well.
This is what this is for, Scott.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So I don't want to
Besides,
be
you two
stepping in
can
on it.
work off each other as well. In fact, the more the merrier, really.
So
you know?
how long should the piece I pick be?
You decide. You're the director.
Okay.
You're
I
the
like
director.
this.
Well,
I'm
this
the
is
boss.
Well, this is it. I mean,
Oh, fuck, she's not the boss again.
yeah.
Always.
Ken, what are you doing?
Well, the thing, out of all of us, she's the one with the experience.
I thought you were going to say she's the one with the tits.
That too.
She's more famous than we are.
Yeah.
It's usually the women.
She's
are
got more
boss anyway,
points.
so-
I got more credits on movie films than
I tell you what. Do you know what I didn't know?
Sorry.
Do you know what I didn't know? And I only found this out. I think it was last week. That you can go on IMDb and create an account and sign in and make your own amendments
Yes.
to those.
Yes.
Just like
to everything.
Wikipedia.
Yes, like
I
Wikipedia.
mean, what?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, go watch that film and check the credits at
Yeah,
the end.
exactly.
Do they match?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of research to see if somebody's bullshitting, really, does it?
No, and all of mine match.
Okay. So
I'm going to check.
while we still
Wagyu checked, and he was like,
Did
"You
he?
were on Obi-Wan," and I was like, "Yes, I was."
okay. While we still have time, explain the homework assignment again, just so everyone's aware and I can hear this again.
Okay. Right, you're going to take a piece of film picked by Marilyn, and
This is
score
with
it.
dialogue too, correct?
No, I tell you what. To start with, have it. If it has dialogue,
Mute it.
just mute it. Yeah.
Okay.
And this will actually be quite interesting, because what you could do is write to it without the dialogue, if it is a piece with dialogue, and then see if it works when the dialogue is put back.
Oh, okay.
So you want to do that when we hold the next class, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can try that. And
Okay.
So what you need to make sure of is that the piece of video that you select, whatever length it is, that there's no other music there. It's only
Right.
got dialogue on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll take that out.
Yeah.
But
Or it could be, a scene where a camera's sweeping across a vista of some description.
Yeah.
Or
A dolly shot of something.
Or a man walking
Shots
down a
of-
path or whatever. Yeah.
or something
right, yeah.
something flying through space, or
Start small. Yeah.
or a river running, or where it switches and it goes from one thing to another, showing
Right.
mountains, birds landing in
Yeah.
trees, that kind, sort of like nature program.
So neither one of you three will see the piece of film that I've chosen until the next time.
Yeah.
We do a
This is
class.
pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah. And then all of you will start building a score to that piece of film. I think
Okay.
that's a brilliant
Actually,
idea.
Half God
Can't
makes
you?
a good point. Use library films because it's royalty free.
Where do you
Yes.
get library films from?
Yeah. They have them online. I've gotten
Do
a
they?
bunch
Yeah, they're
of
knocking around. Yeah.
Yeah. All the films that we've used, like when we used the ones for the scoring event, they were all royalty free.
Can I make one suggestion? That it's not terribly long. Like,
no, I'll
it doesn't
keep
have to be.
I just want to bite like a small bite before we get carried away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, if it's too long, it requires more work.
Right.
And more experience, though, right? So that I don't have.
No. It would just be you doing the same thing longer. You don't need to do it longer. You can do the same thing in short lumps. Because every single time a piece of film is put in front of you, it will be different.
Okay, but we're just talking music, not follies or anything
Correct.
like that, right?
Just music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Music.
Okay.
And Andy Fireblade Musa said, "I'll create a space video for you to use." Perfect.
There you go.
You and I will communicate off of this, off air, and we'll talk about the length, what should be in there, and stuff like that. And then we'll credit Andy on the videos when we score them. So, Andy, if you can send me an email so I can have your contact information, it's pinned in the chat. And so what we'll do is we'll use his whatever video that him and I collaborate with. Then the class 2, you guys will see the video.
Which will be next Saturday.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
What if it's here? Hang on a second.
I think that's a beautiful idea.
is-
Get the community involved.
Right. Is next week is next Saturday enough time for everyone? I think now that we have a new schedule that Scotty implemented, I think we'll have enough time to do that.
Yeah.
I suggested, I didn't implement it.
Well, it worked.
Everybody's going to be like a little twat.
It worked.
Well, you fucking are. I mean,
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
tuna
Yeah,
keeps fucking hitting you for a
I mean,
reason.
so can we do this next Saturday?
Yeah, we absolutely can.
Okay.
And we can probably come on earlier on Chatting with the Dixons so we can have a little bit more time for the class session afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pretty much do it whenever you feel like it, to be honest.
Yeah, very
Right.
true.
Whatever
Yep.
suits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as it's not terribly long, I'm thinking 2 minutes is long enough.
That's
Oh,
way
yeah.
long. I was thinking like a minute.
A minute is
To
even
begin.
better.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like
60
wasn't
seconds.
it,
To begin
wasn't the
with.
Apollo thing? It was only about 60 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
Right.
minute. It was
Oh,
perfect.
but that's more than enough. That's more than
Yeah.
enough.
Perfect.
So let's
Absolutely.
so let's split Chatting with the Dixons up. Let's
Yeah.
at least allow 2 hours for both
Uh-huh.
sessions.
Yep.
It's a total of 4 hours.
Yeah. And
Plenty
then
of time.
Andy and I will get together and he'll create a film from us. Thank you so much, Andy. That was
Yeah, that's a good idea.
beautiful for you to offer.
Is there anyone who wants to do this?
Well, like
exercise is what I'm going to call it. It's an exercise.
yeah, well, like Scotty said, I can create another channel and then
Okay.
I can provide the video to them on the same day, but the same usual suspects will be in this class session. So it won't be,
Cluttered,
too
yes.
cluttered. Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
everybody will have access to the film and then they can do with it what they want to.
Yeah, so if they want to share it, they can then share it back on that
Yes,
same page on the
yep,
Discord.
on the Discord.
And any
yeah.
conversations or discussions they want to have, they can have it with each another. We can get involved in that as well, to pass on some
Exactly.
sort of comments. But at least that way, this thing that you've got going here
Yeah.
doesn't get muddied by loads of suggestions.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I was,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll tell you
And-
what,
Yeah.
another suggestion for you. Listen to, I mean, you listen to, when you're watching films, you listen to the music anyway, yeah?
Mhm.
But have you ever listened to film scores blind, as it were?
No.
No, just with a set of headphones, just sit down and listen to the score.
No.
Do that a lot
Okay.
when you can.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't have to be, just anything. Ones that you like, but listen to how they're being put together, and then it's good practice because if you listen to a score, I know there's a couple of places on YouTube where they play tracks, and you can listen to them, and you envisage what you're seeing, and it's kind of a reversed version of scoring where you're adding the visuals to the music you're hearing, but it's technically exactly the same process, just in the opposite direction, and it's good
Makes
practice.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it would be
listening
quite
to how people
interesting.
put things together as well.
It would be probably quite interesting listening to that before seeing the bit of footage that goes along with it, then watching the footage afterwards to see how different your visions were
Right.
to what the footage was, if you know what I mean, or the scene.
So maybe I can do that too. Maybe I can just pick different movies and segments of it and have you listen to it, but not tell you what you're listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for instance, one thing I do a lot, admittedly a lot of it's for fun, but it is good practice, is I learn to play scores.
Oh,
You know,
Okay, so
like
that's
ones I
gonna
like.
okay. That's
Yeah.
gonna lead to my next question, and this is my last question. And I'm not trying to dictate how your proverbial syllabus is going for our education purpose.
No, it's
but-
right. We can tailor make this to work.
Okay.
Yeah,
When
for
do we?
you.
When is it a time that I should be looking at certain libraries and trying to get the symphony stuff I do want to implement versus what I have now?
Yeah.
I know I want to work with the things I have now, but there's going to come a time
Yeah.
where I hear things in my head I don't have.
I anticipated this question.
Okay.
Now, I went down a very dark road where I was buying these orchestral libraries or individual instrument libraries. And the next thing I know, I probably could have bought a house instead with the amount that I bought because it started to become an obsession. For what you're doing, one library.
Okay.
And that is Spitfire Audio's BBC Orchestra. That's it.
Did you get that?
I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Now, just to give you an idea, I will post in the private chat here.
Okay.
Marilyn, can you play that? This is me playing a hands track with just that library.
Okay. Let's see. Can I?
Spitfire have been the leaders for a long time.
They are very, very
so good.
They
Oh,
are very,
shoot.
very good.
Okay,
get it?
you guys don't hear this, but I need to share this screen real quick. Can you guys hear it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez, and that's all you, Kent?
Yeah. There you go.
Good.
One library.
grief.
Okay.
That
so-
was crazy.
All right, we'll look into that. 'Cause I know there's going to be a time where it's going to come to where I hear things in my head when we're scoring for this class, and
So
I want to have access to some things.
Yeah, so that's a pat. So those were downloaded where, and what synth?
No, they're actually like a contact library.
It sits on the computer.
Oh,
Yes, like a
gotcha,
VSP.
Yeah.
gotcha.
But another thing worth doing is if you register on the Spitfire website, they do shitloads of free stuff as well that you could be taking. There's a lot of stuff on there. You'll see it yourself, Ken, on there that you can download for They've got like a basic BBC orchestra that you get for free.
Flag Rourke's comment, so
Yeah.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a bit that he wrote for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay, Rourke, just so you know that, okay, this is day one of me understanding how to score, because it's been a huge passion of mine. That's why I really got into music. So Kent is offering lessons to all of us.
So you're here.
So you're
right
gonna
at the
get
beginning.
you're gonna get those questions answered.
Yep.
They're questions that
We all have.
I could probably give you my answer to that question, because when I'm writing music with my brother and I hear things in my head before I even touch the keyboards, before I even start the sound design. And there's been some cases where I don't know how to get that sound. The people that I do know who can lead me there are James Dyson, Scotty Sounds, Kent. So instead of fighting myself and being frustrated as to why I can't get this, because I'm very new at it, almost 2 years in, solid playing, this is what this is all about. So if you stick around, you're going to pretty much walk through this with us.
and learn
So
as well.
the first homework assignment is out. Go back and watch the video, everyone. We got to get up early. We have like 6 horses we got to go tackle tomorrow.
And if anybody wants to join our Discord, the email address is pinned to the top as well.
She will create a channel for this.
Yeah.
I'm taking it very serious. I don't know how serious anybody else is going to take this, but this is something I want to do with my life before I pass this planet. This is one of my number one goals, is to be a serious film scorer. And so I'm taking this 100% serious, willing to do anything and everything to accomplish it. I mean, my goals are just to understand it and to be able to do it. If something should come from that in the future, let the universe play those cards. I'm not going in this with those intentions. I'm going in it just to have the knowledge, just to be able to actually do this. And if I can get work doing it in the future, then so be it. But that's not my outlook as of right now. Right now, I'm just starting school.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Kent. Thank you, Scotty, for coming on.
No problems.
We'll
In the
probably-
private chat, Marlon, I've just sent you a link, a direct link to that free BBC Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a stripped down version of the really pro one. Like I think that the mega pro one's like 900 quid or something, Ken, isn't it? It's something
It is.
that-
It comes on an SSD drive.
but that one will give you a little taste of what
Gotcha.
you're going to get.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
And Rourke, if you want to talk more about it, you can hop into Discord, and I'm under Trust My Monkeys or Trust on 101 in Discord. So
So just email that.
yeah.
The email that's pinned up to the chat to get the invite to the Discord, because it is a private Discord channel.
Yeah. And everybody, before we get out of here, just know our times are changed drastically. Long are the days that we will do 6 hour, 5 hour.
We're not Kent status anymore. We can't be like
Yeah,
Kent.
well, you would warn people about this a
Yeah.
couple
For
of months
quite
ago.
some time.
We
that-
have,
that
yeah.
there was shit a coming.
Right.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Spongellis Film School is now open.
I love how you just named it,
Right.
just out of your
King
ass.
Spong.
King
And,
Spong.
you know, Kent and,
Score
I,
tutorials.
Spongellis class.
Kent and I talked about this for a long time. This was going to be a private thing that him and I were going to do.
Oh my God, it's been going
But-
on for like a few months now.
But we both decided this should be public. Kent is more than happy to help people out. I'm more than happy to sit in this audience live on the channel and experience this. We're not looking for anybody to thank us for doing anything like this, but we are saying if this is something you're into, by all means, none of us are here forever.
Yeah, join
Acquire
us.
the knowledge and join
Yep.
us.
And thank you, Kent. Thank you so
Yes,
much for
No,
doing
doing
that.
no
this.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
It's freaking awesome.
This is amazing. And
Thank you, Scotty, for
Scott Sounds,
doing
thank you
that.
for joining the team, Scotty. Thank you for implementing new things
Scotty
to
also
keep us going forward.
put in the chat the link that he has sent. So Thank
Yeah,
you,
that's
Scotty.
free for anyone to download if they want to at least get a taster of some sort of symphony thing.
It definitely gets you started.
It does.
Rather than spend nearly $1,000 and then go, oh, do you know what? This isn't for me.
For me, right?
And then you go, and I got this now.
Right.
Yeah. So plus we've got Scott here. I mean, I've got Scott's sound bank for the PB12.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I can say without any rhetoric whatsoever and go, fucking brilliant presets,
Well,
mate.
there you go.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Well, when I heard Robbie
I'm glad
play
you
a couple
managed
of
to get them in
oh,
there. Yeah.
Oh, it was actually straightforward. I mean, Robbie had to show me how to do it. Duh.
Yeah.
But when he played me a couple of them when he first got them, and I've gone, oh, wow, so that's what the PB12 can sound like. Because the presets it comes with,
Oh, shit.
they're not great, are they?
No, they're not.
There's one or two
to
on
be
there that
honest,
are all
I
right.
actually initially thought I'd made a mistake with buying it, and then the more I got into it, I was like, oh, hang on.
You go,
Yeah.
hello, there's other buttons over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's too
I mean,
funny.
have you got a Hydrosynth?
I do, yeah.
You've done patches for that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
we have some.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, here's the thing. Now here's the thing, Lamont. When you're doing your scoring, you might go, oh, do you know what? I need a sound that does this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You hit him up.
Well, James Dyson
Right,
already, believe it or not, synchronicity. James Dyson has already reached out to me. He is getting set so he can help me out in designing the sounds I hear. So he's willing to hop on board, and I think we should probably get James Dyson on board with this to be able to help anyone who has questions regarding certain sounds. If he can answer it for you, I'm sure him, Scotty, Kent can answer these things for you. We're not hoarding anything here. Like, this knowledge is for everyone who wants to elevate their game. If you have questions, join the Discord. James Dyson is a very nice man. He's soft-spoken.
No, he's not. That's a
Nah,
such
he's
a
not. He's
lie.
a fucking twat.
But he can be a pervert, so I would stay clear of that section.
You know, he does have very flexible fingers, so I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Well,
Yeah.
with every sun, a little rain must fall.
Right?
All right, we're 15 minutes past our hard cutoff time.
Yeah. Everybody knows their challenge.
Yeah.
Everybody knows their homework assignment. Get it done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll get it next Saturday.
Yeah, and we will see you all tomorrow for our in-studio interview of our very own dentist. He's coming back for interview number 2. That probably will be around 4 o'clock. At the earliest 3, I will probably post it tomorrow morning before we head off to work. Kent, thank you so much. Scotty,
No probs.
thank you.
Cheers, Ken. Cheers, Mont. Cheers, Marlon.
Yep.
Cheers,
Thank you, everybody.
chat.
Yes.
Don't forget, if you want to join that Discord, the email is right
email
up
is pinned
there.
up on the top.
Let's get this done, people.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Love, bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.